I picked up this audio desk system ultrasonic record cleaning machine off of Facebook Marketplace. This is a pretty neat record cleaner. You stick your record in vertically here, and it's got some brushes that spin around and clean the record. It's got an ultrasonic record cleaning system, pumps water around. It even dries the record for you. It's got a couple of powerful fans on it, and it does a whole operation, and it's pretty cool. And this was listed on Facebook Marketplace at one of those prices that was just too good to be true. And it was listed as not having a power cord. Well, anytime I see that, I pretty much make the assumption that it doesn't work. And this was listed so cheap, so good to be true cheap, I just figured it didn't work. And so I went and bought it, and I figured it was cheap enough that I wouldn't be out much if it didn't work. And it doesn't have a standard power cord. It uses a 24-volt power supply. And I was able to find the exact factory power supply online. I ordered it. I plugged it in, and I get a blinking red light right here saying that the water level is low. No matter how much water I put in it. You're supposed to set it so this little float gets up towards the top of the window here. No matter how much water I put in it, it always said the water level was low. In fact, I've overfilled it to a point where water was starting to leak out here, and I quickly shut it off and pulled the plug on it, and thankfully I didn't do any damage. But looking inside of here, and let's see if I can grab a flashlight here and shine it up in here. I can see in there is a little white rod that sticks down. And there is this little float at the bottom. So I am assuming that this has a magnet in it, and as this floats up to the top, it comes close to this contact of this reed switch up here. Once the reed switch closes, it tells the system that it's full of water. And I'm assuming that that switch is no longer functional. I'm guessing. So I'm going to take this apart, we'll take a look at it, and we'll see what we can figure out as to what's wrong with it. Okay, I have the cover off, and I'm looking at the circuit board in here. See if we can't zoom you in. I see we have a PIC microprocessor here, and a couple of L298P. I looked these up. These are motor driver ICs. These are dual channel motor driver ICs, which seems to correlate to these wires down here, I'll bet. So these are probably... let's see here. One of these is probably the brush rollers. One of these is probably the pump. One of these probably spins the record. Or this one probably, maybe this one spins record and this one is fans or something of that nature. But pump, fans, rollers, record spinner. That would make sense there. I don't know what these are here. That's interesting. Or maybe some of these are paralleled up or something. But looking at this, I don't see any ultrasonic circuitry in here at all. There is absolutely nothing in here that's any sort of ultrasonic controller. And looking in the tank in the top of this thing, it's all plastic. Usually an ultrasonic system has a metal tank with ultrasonic transducers on the bottom of the tank, and they make a horrendous noise when they run. So I don't know how they can get away with calling this an ultrasonic record cleaning machine when there is absolutely no ultrasonic system in it whatsoever. Now granted, I can't see what's inside of here, so maybe it's possible there's some sort of ultrasonic system in here, but I don't think so. I'm really thinking this is just some false advertising, and you're paying for a really expensive conventional record cleaning machine. So I don't know. But it doesn't look like there's any water damage in here from me overfilling it. It looks like the water just leaked over here. It might have got into these wires here, but it all looks pretty good in there. So looking around in here, I see that there is the start button connected here, the on-off here. I think this is the incoming power. And then there's this wire here that says Pengel. Can you see that? I had to Google what that meant, and that literally means water level in German. So that's our float switch. And disconnecting this made no difference. And so I assumed that if this is a reed switch and it's just simply closing a circuit, tracing this out, we can see one line comes down here. It goes to a resistor which is tied to ground, and it goes to one pin on this PIC processor. So that's our input, and this resistor is holding the pin at ground. So I'm going to bet that this is going to be power of some kind, and it just simply gets switched to pull this pin high. And it's very hard to see, but in here you can see there's a trace that comes around here, and it comes right around here to this 5-volt regulator here. So there's 5 volts on this reed switch that gets switched to ground, pulls this pin high, which makes sense. So technically, I should be able to disconnect this and put a jumper on here, and the machine should work. So let's give that a try. Okay, I have a jumper on here, and if I'm correct, when I power this on, this should say that it's full of water. This green light here should come on, and this red light should stay off. So let's turn this light off here, because those lights would light up these symbols here. So let's see what happens. Look at that. We have a green light. Well, that's our thumbs up indicator saying that the thing is working. So we have a bad float switch. That is our problem, is our float switch is in fact bad. Now we got to see what we got to do to get it out of here, because it's all the way in that corner over there, and that looks like it's going to be a bugger to get out of there. I managed to get the sensor out, and it's hard to see, but it's way back in this corner in here, and it wasn't pretty to get out of there. I tried and tried to scrape on it, and there wasn't anything to be able to pull up on it. And I finally ended up taking a Dremel tool in a right angle burr bit, and got in there and was able to grind enough of the top of this loose in here to be able to push it in a little bit, and that gave me enough room to scrape the top around the top of the hole there so I could actually retrieve this. And like I thought, this is a meter, and I don't know if you can see, I can't, for some reason I can't, my autofocus does not seem to want to work. Let's try that. There we go. Meter MK03-BV14, and I believe that's 19. And as you can see, I had to kind of destroy this to get it out of here, but it wasn't working anyway. And after some web search, I could not find that part number anywhere online. I only found one other mention of anything with a BV part number, but I contacted StandX, the meter company, and asked them, and they confirmed that this was anything with a BV is a custom house part number, and they were going to get back to me and tell me what the correct part is. But I believe this is it, which is an MK03- I can't read it. Oh yeah, it's a MK03-1A660-500W. It is a normally open reed switch. And oh, look at that. I never realized that. That does show normally open also. And in fact, I've tested this new one, and sure enough, you get close to a magnet, it closes contact. So it works exactly like I thought. So the trick now is I've got to, let me try and zoom you back out here. I've got to try and get this glued back into this hole in here. And it's so hard to get in there. But this should fit right back down into this hole here. There we go. And I got to get that glued back in and level with the top. Sorry, this camera. I'm trying to use my cell phone as a camera here, and it's not working very well. But a GoPro would be worse. It just wants to focus on all the wrong things. And I can't seem to tell. There we go. So I got to get that glued in and level and tested, and that should be what we need to complete the repair on this unit. Okay, we're at kind of a weird angle here. I turned the unit on its side, but you can sort of see there's actually two holes in this location here. One of them is a vent hole, and the other one, the one that's all chewed up there, is where, but that other hole that's all chewed up down there, that's where the sensor goes, and I had to chew it up like that to just get it out of there. So I'm going to try and glue the new sensor in. It won't be perfect, but it doesn't really need to be, seeing as there is that vent hole right there anyway. So let me get it glued in. I'll bring you right back. Okay, I'm actually, if I hold the phone still, I've got a pretty good shot here. I've got the new sensor in place there, and I put just the tiniest little amount of contact cement on there, just in case I have to pull it back out of there for some reason. I don't know why I would. And honestly, if this thing doesn't work at this point, it's going in the trash. But I think that should be just fine. It should work just fine. And that little bit of glue in there is all it needs to hold it in there. Like I said, that hole being sort of chewed up like that, it wasn't pretty, but the Dremel tool and the right angle adapter was so large, I could not see at all what I was doing. I kind of had to go in there blind, and unfortunately, I chewed it up a little bit more than I wanted to, but it worked. It got it out of there, and that was amazing, and I didn't push it into the tank, because if I had pushed it all the way in, I would have never got it out. The fact that I even got it out of that hole was a miracle. I don't know how, but I got real lucky trying to get that old sensor out of there. So new one is gluing up in there. Next step, we'll put the circuit board back in it, and we'll give it a test.
So what we're going to do is you're going to go ahead and place the record in the machine, and then go ahead and press the start button. Turn it on and then press the start button. What will start happening is the bath will start to fill up. It's going to get fairly close to the top of the machine before it actually stops filling. Now, if you don't get automatic rotation on in some instances, it may not start on its own. And if that's the case, that's completely normal. Go ahead and place your finger at the 12 o'clock position and move it down to the 9 o'clock position, and the record should start rotating automatically. So right now, it is in a cleaning stage, and we're going to kind of just let it do its thing. Now that we heard the chimes, that indicates that the record is ready to be played. And as you can see, the Vinyl Cleaner Pro machine has just done an absolute remarkable job of rejuvenating this record to better than new condition.